Hi and welcome to Sweet and Sour. Tonight I'm Tom Tapping, sitting in for Gary Mitchell, who's still off with that nasty rash that he's been, well, trying to get rid of for the last few weeks. Tonight, a great panel and some very, very interesting letters. We'll talk about a survey about one-night stands in Australia, which is fairly interesting, a perving flatmate and what to do about it, and also a letter that tells us all about a coincidental meeting that went horribly wrong. All that and lots more coming up tonight on Sweet and Sour. Stay tuned.
Got a problem, big or small, would a miracle be nice? Our motley crew is back, churning out advice. You might even laugh a bit in the following half hour. Park your backside on the couch, cause baby it's time for Sweet and Sour. Right here on Sweet and Sour.
Pour some sugar in there, baby.
It's time for Sweet and Sour.
Welcome along, Sweet and Sour. I'm Tom Tapping, the host tonight, and a great panel assembled tonight to answer the deep and meaningful questions that go around the world and come back again and, well, hopefully will confuse everyone totally and utterly, as we should. We'll introduce the panel, and what a salubrious panel of absolute superstars we have tonight. The man with the most salubrious haircut in Western Australia, the drive time announcer on 96 FM. He's a guru of many, many things, some of them good. Darren Mello, good evening.
I thought I powdered my head. It wasn't looking so salubrious tonight. But hello, nonetheless. Lovely to be here. Yeah, we worked out last time I was here, 10 years I've been coming on and off to this panel.
Yeah, you look good.
Yeah, well, that's what
You must be tired.
I am very, very tired.
Yeah. Now, I did some Googling on you.
Well, that's dangerous.
And I found out that you had your first exposure, so to speak, on radio at the age of 14 at 6PR.
Yes, that is true. As opposed to my other first exposure, which, you know, was a legal case I'm not allowed to talk about.
Yeah.
But yeah. No, yeah, that's right. Yeah. Year 10. Year 10, 1992.
And you...
Interview with the Prime Minister of any chance?
It was.
Yes.
Right.
Did you get sacked for it?
Very controversial. It took me a long time to come back to radio from that point. But yeah,
all right.
I think it was worth it.
Also, a few other little interesting bits. Darren also apparently was very influenced by The Wall by Pink Floyd and is a mad Doctor Who fan. So,
wow, this is the most prep that anyone's ever done on this program.
It's pretty easy to find you. Sitting next to Darren, who is much, much better looking, and it's great to see her back in town. She started her career many, many, many years ago, I recall, with a little blue elephant on Channel 9 in Perth.
I did.
And then progressed to all sorts of things, not slapper, flapper. Settle down. And she went on to many, many great things, including being part of the Nissan Cedrics with Roy and HG, Louise, Anton back in town.
Hi everyone. Thank you.
Great to see you here. Great to see you back in town.
It's
been a long
great
time.
It's so nice to be home in Perth. I haven't lived here for 20 years or so. Actually, I should say less than that because it sort of ages me if I say 20 years.
Well, you
or so.
left when you were 7.
Never mind.
None of us have got gnats, it's okay.
Absolutely.
Still got all my hairs.
Well, looking forward to getting some deep and meaningful answers from Louie tonight, and she'll be able to shed some more light on what you should do if you're invaded by a blue elephant later on tonight too.
Yeah, I'll have those.
I need some tips.
Our next guest does actually need some tips on numerous things. She's a singer, comedian, and actress, and she has this thing about impersonating dead people. Liza Minnelli, Karen Carpenter.
She's alive.
Well, she doesn't look it. And Amy Winehouse, to say a few. She also used to be on 6IX with Johnny Young. Narelle, Belle, welcome along.
Thank you, guys. Great to be here. Great to be here.
And so, what's your latest character? Amy Winebar?
Amy Winebar or Amy Keg, whatever you want to call her. Housewine is what she's affectionately known as. Bit of Manelli and Martin these days. I did a bit of a gig up at the Dunes. I'm doing Martin.
Yeah.
Yeah. So not someone else is doing Manelli.
Amy Winehouse, you know,
It's
got a fabulous voice.
It's hard now.
By the way,
we're not going to do letters tonight. We're
just going to do that. And our final guest this evening.
Can I just say my
No, you haven't been introed yet. No, you can't. No, sorry.
Who is this?
Mine's parked outside.
Yes. Speaking of the elephant, the CEO of Epilepsy WA, wonderful guy. He still writes very, very biting columns around the place. He's recently overcome some very significant health problems and lost about 357 kilos or something, but done great. Suresh, Rajan, great to have you here.
So look, It's my answer to childhood obesity.
Yes.
Yep, just minor matters. Just have a quadruple bypass and then follow that up with a cancer.
Yes.
It works every time. It's worked for me.
Well, we'll have a bit of a chat about your health stuff. It's very
Thank you.
interesting. We'll get on to the letters because they are absolutely fascinating tonight. We've got some rippers here. This one is from Kimberley in Hilton, South Australia. And get this, I was flummoxed. Who used flummoxed as a word, really?
Front page of newspapers about 20 years ago.
Yeah, true. I was flummoxed to read that a recently conducted survey suggested that many Aussie women were against one-night stands. I mean, just there, I think we should stop. They thought that a woman had to be really desperate to give in to a guy so easily. Since when do we go back to the dark ages? I enjoy a very liberated sex life, and I don't think there's anything wrong with me. I determine who I go to bed with, and that can be on the first night or not. Should I be burnt at the stake for being a strong woman in control? Even my best friend thinks I'm a bit easy. Good best friend. Wow. Why are there still one set of rules for men and another set for women? A man is a hero. The more women he conquers, the better. But apparently a woman is and always will be considered a slut. Kimberley from Hilton in South Australia. Has she got a point, Darren de Mello?
Well, if nothing else, I think the very last line of that letter should be a bumper sticker. A woman is and always will be considered a slut.
Yeah, great.
I think absolutely. No, who do they survey? This is the question. When they ask the CWA, the Country Women's Association, what their thoughts are on one-night stands, I'm not sure that is a particularly current collection of people that they've spoken to. I don't know. I mean, back when I
When you were a whippersnapper?
When I was a whippersnapper, I'm fairly certain that the people that I met were into the one-night stands. I mean, I'm, fairly certain that it was. I mean, unless I don't know, they had stand-ins for it.
I think he
a bit
slipped with his
different back then.
whippersnapper, and that's what's happened to his hair.
Things have changed, obviously. Clearly, things have well changed by these days. But I'm not sure. I don't think we're regressing.
I mean, surely this is the point at which you realise that South Australia is the only place in the world that has an above-ground cemetery.
There you go. They talk about why the birds fly upside down over South Australia,
exactly.
so they can see more.
That's
but
right.
That's
yes.
here or there.
On to some common sense here. Louise, what
You
do
think I'm going to give you
I
common
don't
sense?
know. I'm hoping.
First time ever. Look, I think it's up to the individual, really. I think if you're comfortable and that's what you want to do and you have a good sense of self and you've got control of your emotions, being a woman, because, as we've all heard that, women tend to are a little bit more emotional when it comes to, having sex with people and things. But I think it's up to the individual, and I think if that's what you've chosen to do and you're happy with having one-night stands and you're completely comfortable, then go ahead and do it.
Well,
but I think if you, have a more sort of old-fashioned view and
yes,
I don't know. Does that
Narelle,
make sense?
have you ever met anyone intense?
Oh, look.
Have you got a mirror?
Listen, do you know what, Kimberley? There's no rules, and really, all I can say, it's a health issue in relation to what's your health. If it's not on, it's not on. And as for that's exactly right. And
Nice
as for saying hero, I wouldn't actually give a guy that title, that he's a hero.
No, but I mean, if he saved it from a burning house or something, maybe is. Suresh, what do you think?
Oh, look, all I wanted to know was what was her address.
As you would.
That's it.
It's on the toilet wall.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh dear.
So that's what you really think.
Yeah,
Don't do it now.
there is an absolute myriad of suggestions, none of which are really that relevant.
No.
And I'm sure that Kimberley of Hilton in South Australia will continue to do whatever you want. If your best friend thinks that, well, you're a bit of a slapper or you're too easy, if you do that, well, who cares? Enjoy yourself. Have fun. That seems to be the general thing. Take care. We have more letters coming up with our great panel tonight, so stick around. More of Sweet and Sour in just a few moments. Welcome back to Sweet and Sour. Tom Tapping, I'm hosting tonight. Gary Mitchell is still off, well, whatever he's done, who knows. Who can keep up with Gary Mitchell?
That's the longest relationship he's had. The rash.
Yeah, exactly. Now, if you would like to have your dilemma aired and discussed and definitely not solved on Sweet and Sour, you can write to us here. Email us at letters@sweetandsour.net.au. On facebook.com, you can go to Sweet and Sour, and the website is sweetandsour.net.au. So that's all the details to contact us and keep up with what's happening around the place. If you are selected as the letter of the evening, and we'll have a discussion about that a bit later on because we've still got 2 to go, you will get tickets to go and see Drift, an Australian surfing movie, which is on at, well, extremely selected movie theatres around somewhere, maybe, possibly, we hope. Letter number 2 this evening. We've had a discussion during the break and everyone's really confused about anything, really. And the letter is, I think my new flatmate is perving on me. As a favour to another mate, I agreed to let this man share my apartment. Now, Narelle, that means this man share my apartment. So he's a bloke, the bloke that's perving, okay?
Written in as a girl.
No. Don't confuse it.
Don't start
He
already.
moved in 5 weeks ago and he paid me bond plus 3 months up front, which I promptly dispatched at the travel agent. That is, I've spent it all on a week's holiday with my girlfriend. Well, pretty cool. I don't know whether I'm just being paranoid, but I swear the other night, while I was in my room with my girlfriend, I heard the floorboards creaking outside my door. My girlfriend thinks he's creepy. And when I'm on the phone, he just lurks around trying to listen into my conversations. Whenever he finds out my girlfriend is coming over and we're staying in, he stays in as well. I'm not sure how to approach him. He's starting to freak me out. I think he's a bit of a psycho, which instead of creaky floorboards goes, like that sort of noise. And the trouble is, he's also a mate of a good mate. And that's Blake of Northgate in Queensland. Blake, well, what can we say? Blake is a bloke who is worried about another bloke maybe blanking his,
Blanking his blank.
blanking his blank, yes, in the words of the late, great Graham Kennedy.
Indeed it is.
Yes. Now, Suresh, you're kicking this off.
Hey, look,
You could
I'm
tell
keeping
us.
it nice and simple. I'm assuming that Blake's a bloke. I'm assuming that the new flatmate is a bloke, and that Blake has a girlfriend.
And the girlfriend's a girl.
Yep.
Good assumption.
And the flatmate has a collection. No, the flatmate has a collection of axes.
No connection.
He has a collection of axes which he sharpens every day.
Okay.
No 2 ways about it. He's a psycho.
Okay.
Simple. Keep it
Beautiful.
simple.
So what should he do? Kill him?
Yeah, kill him.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
let's not mince words.
Okay, let's mince him instead of mincing words. Okay, well, there's a solution to it. Just kill him.
Suddenly this became a Simpsons Halloween episode.
Yes. Of course, all advice given here on the program should be taken with a very, very, very big grain of salt.
Yes.
And certainly anything that Suresh says, because he
Completely
has been
gratuitous.
under the influence of cancer-altering drugs lately.
exactly.
Don't listen to him. Narelle?
Well, listen, I just think you're paranoid, and I just think you're pretty tight that you've got a flatmate in when you can go and spend someone's rent, 3 months' rent. So you don't really need a flatmate. So get over it. Tell your mate that it didn't work out, and all's good.
Okay.
Wow, okay.
I'm totally confused by that.
No, I
but
still
No, how can you be? I mean, the guy doesn't need a flatmate, really. He spent the
Well,
rent for 3
It's so
months.
much easier to kill him.
Just
But he
get rid
needed
of
a
it.
bit to be able to
to be able to
on
have the holiday.
Yeah.
And how do you know he doesn't fancy, you and not the girlfriend?
Oh, look, now we're back down the hairdresser line here. Yeah, here we go. Hairdressers bloody everywhere this week. Louise.
I think, look, the last line, trouble is, he's also a mate of a good mate. Can't you ask the good mate? Just for a little bit of, heads up. What is it with this dude? Getting a creeped out feeling,
He's doing creaky things outside my room.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know. I don't know if that's going to help. And then the other thing is maybe he should just get some more money together and go on a longer holiday until the guy's cleared out.
Yeah.
Then he takes over
Stay
squatting
out
right
for-
style, so he's got nothing to come back to.
Brilliant. Yeah, that's
That
good.
works.
That creeps around. Get his floorboards fixed.
That's right. The flatmate, your flatmate's got an axe. He could probably help you out on that front.
Funny part is, of course, that he lives on a floor on a basement floor with concrete.
The other
floorboards.
thing is Blake could actually be flattered by the attention.
Could
he could
be.
be flattered.
Could be.
I mean,
I guess
Jealous?
the question is,
What do you
is
think,
it
Darren?
perving on Blake, or is he perhaps
know.
interested in the girlfriend? I mean, I'm not sure. Not that necessarily changes it necessarily.
Maybe he likes actually listening to both. Maybe he's one of those guys that likes hearing the action.
There are them about. There are them sort about,
Yes, I heard about them.
And I may have lived with him. And I find that the best way
Bookends.
out of this situation... What? Just sorry, you know, we're going to talk about a pig on a spit next. Because I don't know where we're going here. This is an M-rated show, isn't it? Last time I checked, my mum was watching.
Sorry.
Hi, Mrs. DeMello.
Yeah.
He's actually being badly led astray by us.
Very much so.
Do you think the guy's a psycho?
I'd
That's
be a
label
little
to
bit,
give
well, you know, but everyone's got different degrees of what a psycho happens to be.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people would probably put him in the psycho bin just quietly
lonely.
after they've minced him. So, but you know, is he lonely because he's got an abhorrent personality? There's the
I
question.
don't know this.
Is
Could
he
be.
because
He's got an abhorrent personality. Why would, you know, he
Well,
keep moving in the first
the
place?
other thing,
And he's also got enough money to be able to pay the bond in 3 months in advance. So I reckon
well,
there's something wrong with a bloke with that sort of money lying
And
around.
he's
Nowhere
not
to go
letting his
out.
undies
All
lying around,
right.
is he?
you know what though, mate of a good mate, get your good mate to get rid of him.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, there's a selection of all sorts of, advice there. You could kill him. You could actually redefine him as maybe not a psycho, but a sort of psycho.
Just change your point of view.
You could fix your
him in.
floorboards, or you could maybe give him a camera and put it on YouTube. Whatever it may be, we hope that helped. Thanks very much to Blake of Northgate in Queensland, and we'll be back very, very shortly here on Sweet and Sour.
Whores, losers, bestiality. And that's just in the first 30 seconds. It's all on Sweet and Sour coming up right now.
We're back with Sweet and Sour tonight. You're not supposed to clap. Oh, look, you know, that's it. She's ruined it. She's absolutely destroyed it. Letter number 3, the final letter this evening. And if anyone's wondering, no, it is not Gary Mitchell who has gone on some sort of chocolate eating binge. I'm Tom Tapping, sitting in for Gary, who, well, is having a chocolate eating binge, so he can be big and fat like me.
Was that my problem as well?
Yes, I think it was.
I think that might be it.
It was. Letter number 3.
That's it.
All right, here we go. Letter number 3. Let's get some good advice here. I was out on the town one night. I met this fantastic looking guy in a pub. We started chatting and we clicked instantly, as it happens. One thing led to another and I took him back to my place. After that night together, I didn't hear from him again and he'd give me a dud phone number, so I couldn't contact him either. It was Darren DeMello's phone number. I was extremely upset because I felt as if I'd been used. But a couple of weeks later, I bumped into a girlfriend of mine, this is where it gets awkward, whom I hadn't seen for a long while. She introduced me to her new husband, Papa, who she married about a year ago. And you wouldn't believe it, it was my one-night stand man. It was very awkward. We pretended it as if it was the first time we'd met, but I'm so angry. I want to tell my friend, but I'm not sure I should. Danica, and I hope that's a false name because otherwise someone's going to get into trouble, from Fitzroy in South Australia. Narelle, you are the expert on meeting hunky guys in pubs. I didn't go there.
Thank you. Yeah, I am. I just know how you feel. It's happened to me many a time. Right. Very awkward, very sensitive situation. First of all, he's a rat. You don't want to get involved with rats, do we? No, not those types of people. Secondly, I think you need to sit your friend down. I think you do need to tell her you are probably going to lose the friendship because of, what do you think, Louise? I think that she possibly will lose that.
No, don't
friendship.
team up with the girls here. We're looking for your opinion.
Well, excuse me. We're just asking for a bit of support there.
No,
But
no
anyway,
support.
no, I just think that a man, always a cheater. Once a cheater, always a cheater.
This is not a bra.
And,
You don't get support, okay?
Well, let the chips fall where they may. You know, just tell your friend what's happening.
Look, I'm just wondering if, you know, if you spoke for another 10 seconds, if you could throw another half dozen cliches in there. It is. We're just doing it one week at a time.
Exactly.
And yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
You're very foolish.
Geez,
But
thanks
no,
for that.
Just don't mention him.
I don't even know what you said then. Suresh, you've been the victim of being, picked up in pubs with women wanting your body.
And more and more I'm. That's it exactly. And more I'm convinced about South Australia now. Here's another person.
Stop it.
Oh no! Look! I'm with Narelle on this one.
Thank you.
Yeah, he's a jerk.
So you'd tell her? You'd say to tell her friend?
Yeah, no doubt. I think that's the only cause for her. Tell a friend and
Phone a friend.
probably about the 14th bottle or so. You know, might be about when you broach the subject. But yeah, no, I think it's one that
Okay.
time
Well,
to tell the friend.
Darren DeMello, you did mention that in the discussion about Adelaide, that
sorry. There we go.
when the airlines fly there, the hostess gets up and goes, Good morning, welcome to Adelaide, where the time is 1978.
That's right. That's right. And I say that in full knowledge that I know that my South Australian relatives will be watching, shouting at the screen, which will be black and white.
Have they got electricity now?
Oh, they'll ring me on the
sensational.
can phone shortly.
Adelaide.
No, I know Adelaide's a
Yes.
lovely place. It is a lovely
It
place.
is. Beautiful.
Come on, what would you do?
I got to say, I don't know. The right thing to do is certainly to get in contact with your friend and tell her, but I feel like it could be dangerous territory. The funny thing is, not everybody necessarily does this, because I know that when I was on the other foot of being in a situation where a partner, a previous, wasn't being faithful, everyone knew about it but me, and no one said anything. And it's like, why not? Oh, it's not really our place. Well, whose place is it?
Well,
I don't know.
That's probably because you haven't got any friends.
Well, I mean, sure, they were financial dependents, yeah, okay, which is a different story.
How did you feel when you found out?
Well, you know what, a bit weird, but you know, hey, you know.
Did you wish you'd known? Did you wish somebody had said to you and told you?
Well, the thing is, I think I'd suspected it for a long
Yeah.
time anyway, so in the end it kind of worked out in the
She
mix
ripped
of
all the
things.
money out of your bank
Yeah.
account. You wish
No, that was the friends that were ripping the money out of the account.
Yeah.
Different.
Did
that
you
was-
hang out with some great people?
I did. I really, yeah, I have. But
Louise,
no, yeah.
final
Do
word
it.
on this, what would you do?
I tend to think, well, I'm just sort of wondering if it was a woman doing that to a bloke and they just got married. And I think the blokes think, you know, the mateship and everything, the bloke would tell the bloke and say, your wife's, you know, she's not
She's
good.
a slacker.
not a
I
good-"
just slept with her.
Exactly.
Yeah, doing the
Don't you
deed
think?
on the
So
side.
there would
Yeah.
be that
First
real
letter.
mateship. Women, like we do have that mateship, but then you sort of don't want to rock the boat or anything. And probably what will happen is the wife, for a while, won't talk to the friend.
Yeah.
So she won't talk to you for a while, but eventually things will come out in the
I
wash
think
and she'll
women
end up.
would talk to their friend more about. I don't know if guys would tell.
And in
I
between,
don't
the friend
know,
is
I
then
don't know.
clear to move in on the husband when they separate. That's
That's
the other
Do you
important
think
point.
guys would tell their mate?
I reckon
This is what I'm
guys
saying.
would.
I don't
you
know.
think?
I'm not sure.
I don't
It would
think guys
depend.
would tell.
All right,
No,
well,
the guys would tell only to boast.
well, that's true.
Only after.
What we've managed to do is get no definitive answers there whatsoever.
nothing.
We
So-
will just have a quick run around just to wrap up and then find out what the selection of the best letter was. First of all, Darren de Mello, before you do that, I want confirmation that you once did an interview saying that you would like to be your cat, Seymour, for a week.
I may have said that. I may have been drunk.
Okay, fair answer.
Yeah, which is
Louis,
Yeah.
Do you want to be
how small was the person in the flapper suit? Because he was shorter than you.
He was teeny tiny. No. You know, no. Actually, no. I'm not going to give away any secrets.
Okay, no
I don't know
secrets?
what you mean.
Okay.
Yeah,
Size
that's
doesn't matter.
Okay.
size.
And Suresh, all better
Yeah,
now.
that's
You've got the clearance from your cancer and all the
Yeah,
rest of
look,
it.
yeah, I just journey with it, and it's something I've got to deal with. Yeah, I'm
Good
still
man.
here.
Well done.
Yeah,
Well, you're looking good.
And Narelle, speaking of people with ailments and stuff, when's your next show as Karen Carpenter?
Oh, coming up towards the end of the year.
When
at
you do a
Friends
Karen
Restaurant.
Carpenter show at a restaurant, do they
I've been
feed you?
No, I don't get.
Do you get a rider? Like, you get
Mama
cheese,
Cass is
steak?
coming. She's going to share that
Oh,
ham
Mama
sandwich.
Cass.
Can we go very quickly around the panel?
Right.
The Aussie Opticals sunglasses goes to the best letter. Which letter?
Number three
Number
to
three.
hide your shame.
I have to
embarrassment.
say number 3.
Number
That's
three.
I
terrible.
think 3.
Yeah, number
Yeah.
three.
Number 3 looks like
You're
it's
going to
unanimous.
Sydney.
At number 3.
No.
So yeah, no, they're not going to Sydney. They're getting a set of
No.
Aussie
Because
Opticals.
they're staying in South Australia.
That's Kimberly. Well,
So
she
you can
is.
see those guys clearer.
Swings and roundabouts.
Kimberly from Hilton in South Australia gets the Aussie Opticals. Write in, email in, check us out on Facebook, whatever you do. Thanks for being part of Sweet and Sour. Thanks to the absolutely sensational panel tonight, and we'll see you again very, very soon, right here on Sweet and Sour.